Is it really possible to achieve high-level language fluency as a busy adult? Today, we're proving that it is. Welcome back to Fluent After 40, the channel dedicated to helping mature learners maximize their abilities and reach their language goals. My name is Jeff, and I'm excited today to bring you a slightly different format. I'm delighted to welcome Henry to the channel as my first guest. Henry and I are tackling C1 level French together as classmates at the Alliance Française of Michigan. So if I slip up and call him Henri today, you'll know why. Henry's a highly accomplished, in my view, language student and perfectly represents the kind of community we're building here. Henry, thank you so much for joining me.
Well, Jeff, thank you for asking, Jeff. I enjoy class with you and I'm interested in your project.
Super. So to start, I wonder if you could please tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, your background, what you do currently, and what languages you're learning.
Sure. Well, I think, Jeff, you picked me because I'm way past 40.
I think it's safe to say we both remember a time before the internet.
Yes, indeed. But I'm pushing double 40. So I practiced law for quite a long time, over 45 years.
Hmm.
And during that time, I did not really have any occasion much to use foreign languages. I mean, quite rarely I would. When I was a student in high school, I started having languages. We had Latin in high school, and I started
Hmm.
taking French then.
Ah, okay.
And then when I went on to university, then I took additional French classes. Suppose I was attracted to France. That was the first time I ever went away from home when I was 16. There was a brief summer program, summer exchange program with France, with a family. I stayed with a family in France, and then one of their sons came back and stayed with us. It was
Hmm.
fairly brief. It was 4 to 5 weeks, something like that.
That's still a
But
good
it
period
was
of time.
it was, and it was total immersion because
Yeah.
you're living in a family in a foreign place, and I was able to get by pretty well, and
Hmm.
I loved traveling and being abroad, and so when I finished college, I actually went into the Peace Corps
Oh.
and was in a little tiny village in Liberia in West Africa. There was a tribal language there, and it was fun for me to learn it. And it was interesting to learn because it's not a written language.
Ah,
Uh,
interesting.
so you had to listen and repeat and pick things up. I
What's the
could,
name of that language?
I was
I'm
called
curious.
Crew. It was called Crew,
Crew.
spelled Kru. But I actually was also the teachers there weren't paid on any regular basis, so they didn't always show up.
Ah.
So you had to teach everything, and I actually ended up teaching a French class as well
Oh,
because
wow. What an
Liberia's in
experience.
Liberia's in West Africa, and French West Africa. There are a lot of French-speaking countries in that region. With my conclusion of my Peace Corps service, I went to Japan for a year, and I studied Japanese during the day, and I taught English to Japanese businessmen at night.
Hmm.
But in terms of conversing, going to a store, going to the dry cleaner, going to a restaurant, I could do those things.
And how did you pick up Japanese during this time? Was it purely just through immersion, or were you taking classes?
I took classes.
You did, okay.
I got tutors.
So you started off with some French in high school and
Mhm.
college, and then you moved into a couple different languages through Peace Corps and your time in Japan. How did you circle back to French then?
Well, I suppose I have the strongest foundation in French. I've had the most academic training in French. And I mean, language learning to me is you use it or lose it.
Hmm.
And I did lose a great deal. I think probably my best time of speaking was just after university. There's still things locked in the brain there.
Hmm.
I mean, I do think that language learning and the ability to pick up languages does vary with people. And once you start learning languages, at least once I did, there are certain techniques that you look for, and by you compare languages and one language can help you with another. It can
Mm-hmm.
mess you up. You
Mm-hmm.
can get totally mixed up.
True.
Uh, but also, I think there are some techniques that help you learn. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember when I did start a Spanish course earlier this year, and the teacher asked about people's language skills, and I think there was one other student in the class who spoke German fluently, and she asked me about my French, which
Mm-hmm.
incidentally, she's from Mexico, but she had studied French as well. And she said, "Oh, it's going to be easier for you because you already have a language." So
Mm-hmm.
I think there is something to that. Uh,
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I recall having a professor in graduate school, Haskell Block, spoke
hmm,
12 languages,
yeah,
12, which at the
yeah.
time was just
Wow.
mind-blowing. And I
Yeah.
remember he said to me, the more languages you learn, the easier it becomes to pick up a new one. Okay, so now you're obviously learning French. We're learning French together.
Mhm.
You've started some Spanish. What are your goals? What's the outcome you're looking for in your learning? What is it you want to do with French, for example?
Well, as you know from the readings we've been doing in our French class, bilingualism uh, actually kind of helps your brain stay agile. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and particularly at my stage in life, I mean, having the ability to try to uh, keep your brain active and
Mm-hmm.
motivated is a useful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether the science will bear out that it does fend off Alzheimer's and that sort of thing, I don't know. To be continued. It's also just something I enjoy doing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I like music. I like sounds.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so hearing different languages is just kind of fun. Now that I'm retired, I'm trying to focus on things that are fun.
Why not?
And language is something that I let drop.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I have enjoyed when I've been able to be more immersed.
When did you pick up French again? When did you turn back?
Oh,
How many
really?
years
Gosh.
ago?
No, just probably a couple years ago, we took a trip to the southwest of France.
Uh-huh.
I hadn't been to that region before, and
Mm.
I'd always wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
In advance of that trip, I started taking tutoring. I would tutor private lessons with
Mm-hmm.
Annabelle at the Alliance
Oh,
Française.
right. Mm-hmm.
And that's when I took it up again. And it
Uh-huh.
was it was
So
interesting. It triggered things came back.
I wondered if French came back to you maybe more easily than you thought it would, or maybe locked into a part of your brain was that French
Mhm,
still kind of hiding there. A few lessons to kind of clear the cobwebs, so to
mhm,
speak, so it would come back. And it
mhm,
sounds like that was the case for you.
Exactement.
In your retirement, I know you have a busy social life. So what do your current language study habits look like? How do you make time to study?
Learning language is hard. Uh, it takes a long time. I
Hmm.
don't know that I'll ever be fluent at the level I would like to be. I do find I have to spend time on it. And the
Hmm.
current class we have, I think fortunately, we got a very compatible group, I think.
Hmm.
And a teacher who's a little bit strict, I find.
Hmm. True.
And she gives us a lot of homework.
A fair amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And so
should
I
tell the
must say,
viewers who don't know, our class meets once a week for an hour and a half. We do have homework assignments too, which I think I spend an hour to two each week on that.
I would think I probably spend maybe sort of 3 hours for every
Mm.
hour and a half of class.
Hmm.
Um, and then when I was doing Spanish, I tried to fit that in as well. I was elementary in Spanish, though. I mean,
You
it
just
was,
started that recently. Yeah.
yeah, I just started a few months ago. Mhm.
What roadblocks do you feel you've hit in your language study and how have you navigated around those?
Well, I'm still navigating, but
We all are.
as I think we're suggesting, vocabulary is a big deal. You have to just work hard at memorizing.
Hmm.
And I find also conjugations
Hmm.
are very tricky for me.
Yeah.
And the French is actually a little treacherous in conjugations, I think more so than Italian, for example. They
Mm.
both have their peculiarities. Reading and writing. I was never as good at as I wanted to be, particularly on the writing side.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's why the homework that we
Mm-hmm.
get now, which requires writing,
Mm-hmm.
is something I'm trying to spend time on
Mm-hmm.
to try to nail the writing, get the conjugations right, pick the correct verbs.
Mm-hmm.
And it just is practice, practice, practice. I try to listen every day to French radio. It reinforces words that you thought you learned and you maybe forgot, and then next time maybe you'll remember them. Uh, and it also is a different perspective, of course, on the news, which is interesting as well.
Mm.
Uh,
How do you access French radio? Is it an app on
uh,
your phone or?
Yeah, just on the phone. France
Okay.
info dot, yeah, and
France
it just
info. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it just pops up. And I try to watch the occasional movie when I can. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't do a lot of that. Um, I am trying to do some reading. And I remember one of your videos said, don't read the classics, read stuff you can read.
Well,
Uh,
I think it depends on your level.
yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
assume most of the viewers are A level, B level. If you're going to try to tackle Victor Hugo at
Mm-hmm.
that level, you'll be frustrated and want to give up.
At our level, it's still hard.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. Yeah,
I've been trying to read Zola, and I can get through about a
yeah.
couple of pages and understand maybe
Mm,
60% of the words, but I
hmm
do think it helps. I do think,
absolutely. So a lot of people think kids have the upper hand when it comes to learning languages. A lot of people think, once you're beyond your teen years, it's close to impossible. A lot of people get frustrated as adults when they try to learn a foreign language. I wanted to ask you, in what ways do you think you're a better learner now compared to perhaps your high school, early college years?
well, I suppose I'm able to be more focused now, largely because I'm retired and I don't
Mm,
have the distractions of work
hmm
or other college courses or whatever it was. The life is full of distractions.
hmm
And so I've been able, I think, to focus uh, more clearly and the discipline of having homework. I do think that once you have picked up a language, as you pointed out, there's something locked in there, and I've been pleasantly surprised that it didn't all disappear. To me, I haven't noticed a huge difference due to age, knock on wood
hmm
at this point.
hmm hmm
Um, I think, as people age, there are short-term memory issues that people have, everybody gets,
hmm
and your brain shrinks and all those things.
Well, my
So,
understanding is from what I've read,
uh,
there are neural pathways that form.
mhm,
It's not like you have a shrinking file cabinet in your head, but you form neural connections
mhm,
as you
mhm,
learn things, and the mind is like a muscle.
mhm.
So if you continually use it, studies I've read, even into your 70s, you continue to form new neural pathways. At least from the studies I've seen, it's still quite possible for people in their 50s, 60s, 70s to learn foreign languages and become adept at them.
I think people have different skills to
Mm,
learn a language, and uh, I don't think it's a question of age so much as a question of sort of propensity. And it's also the whole question of accents is kind of interesting to me too. Uh, I remember a linguistics professor that I became acquainted with. I think when people learn a language, they want to sound like a native speaker, but you don't because you're not a native speaker.
hmm
And you can still have fluency without sounding like a native. And that's what this linguistics professor, the point he made to me was, don't worry about your accent. The point of a language is to communicate. So long as you
hmm
can communicate, it doesn't matter whether you've got an accent or not. And
hmm
I would hope people don't get discouraged if they have trouble with pronunciation, because
hmm
your brain isn't wrapped around the words of a foreign language the same way it is with your mother tongue.
What do you think you've benefited from most in learning foreign languages?
Well, but again, I go back to the fact that I just enjoy doing this. I mean, it's a hobby
hmm
that gives me pleasure.
But what makes it
And
fun for you?
um, I guess the ability to have your brain transition from what you usually, uh, the way it usually works, the words it usually says, and into another tongue. And there's a certain agility and the ability to make yourself understood in a different language is just I mean it's a kick. It's like
Hmm.
a physical activity in some ways. It's
Hmm.
brain activity.
So what would you say to somebody who may be watching this video in their 40s, 50s, or beyond, who maybe is a bit hesitant to begin learning a foreign language? Maybe they think they're too old, their brain is too rigid. I'm up against it. I can't do it. What words of encouragement might you share with them?
I'd say I would say try it and see how you like it. And that don't worry about making mistakes. You're
Hmm.
going to make mistakes. We make
Right.
mistakes in English, but you'll make more mistakes and need correction.
Hmm.
Uh, but it is a long learning process.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
a marathon, not a sprint. That's what I
yeah,
always say.
that's exactly right.
I think you make a great point about mistakes.
Hmm.
I think that is a big roadblock that adults have that maybe younger learners don't. I mean, kids, they make mistakes and it doesn't faze them. But
Hmm.
we become more self-conscious, right? As adults, we don't want to look foolish or sound foolish. So we're afraid to make mistakes. And then we don't make them. We're hesitant to speak, and it holds us back from learning. But I've found, and it sounds like you have too, the mistakes is part of the process, and sometimes it's how you learn best.
Sure. Yeah. So, I
Hmm.
mean, you have to just keep trying to speak, trying, and then you overcome the speed bump of mistakes and correct them maybe one by one. And then you may lose the correction and have to go back to it,
Yeah,
but it's all still there.
right. Repetition, right? Repetition is a
Mhm.
mother of skill. What's the most important thing you'd like the viewers to take away from this conversation?
I would just say there are benefits. I think there is a mental agility
Hmm.
and a real pleasure from learning new sounds and ways of expressing yourself uh, that make you have a kind of fuller life and fuller perspective on life.
Mm,
And the ability to hear a broadcast or see a movie or read a story in a different language again can be a real pleasure. So
mm,
I try to go at it and see how you can do. You make progress and you may have some backsliding
hmm. That's true. That's true.
and then you may have a spurt forward.
Hmm.
It's also not a steady progression.
Yeah,
It is, I guess, I'm back to your analogy of of a marathon, not a sprint.
yeah,
And there are certain miles of the marathon that are going to go easier and faster, and
yeah.
some are not. Then you're
Hmm.
going to hit some plateaus,
Yeah, yeah,
which isn't yet another source of frustration. But
true.
that's when you need to keep plugging.
All right. Well, Henry, thank you so much for participating in this discussion. It's been a great pleasure talking with you and hearing your views on language learning. I think you've shared some good insights that the viewers will benefit from and will help people move closer toward their language learning goals.
Pleasure is mine.
Uh-huh.
Thank you
And
for
now
your endeavor.
I'd like to hear from the viewers too. What's your best advice for someone who wants to start learning a new language at age 40 or beyond? Let me know in the comments below. If you'd enjoyed this conversation, please hit the like button and subscribe for more language learning tips. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.
Bye bye. Thanks, Jeff.